Hello game fans and welcome to another review from Gaming Debugged. Now today we'll be looking at Wolfenstein, The New Order. And so basically it's set in the 1940s and in the 1960s, and it's the story of an alternate future where the Nazis have won the Second World War and have ultimately conquered the world. Now you play William B.J. Blazkowicz as he fights to bring down this psychopathic general called General Deathshead, who's a sort of maniacal scientist who's got some futuristic technology and is aiming to sort of take over the world with it. Now, when I was first playing it, I was a little bit confused because to me, BJ has always been a bit of a meathead with dual wielding, crazy weapons, taking out Nazis with over-the-top guns. So when when I played the New Order, it felt so serious. But as I started to play through it, I was exposed to all the real subtle nuances and then all of a sudden it just clicked, and I just sort of fell in love with the game. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, Machine Games has done a fantastic job mirroring the story of Wolfenstein the game into the story of Wolfenstein the New Order, because both William B.J. Blazkowicz and Wolfenstein the game are both they're both out of time. You know, the protagonist is sort of a blunt instrument whose sole purpose is to kill Nazis, basically. So in more modern first-person shooters, you've got this sort of you need to have more out of a character. You know, characters need to have a backstory, they need to have motivation, they need to have a history and all this kind of stuff. Whereas because BJ is this relic of a different time, he sort of, in both the game and in himself, he is this relic. So the storyline literally puts him in a coma and then brings him out in the 1960s where he is literally out of time. So this is great. So 1 minute, you know, he's sort of in the trenches in the 1940s, just being the blunt instrument, and then the next, the world has grown up and matured around him, and he just sits there like a vegetable, sort of with this shrapnel lodged in his brain. But it's done really cleverly and really subtly, and it sort of never really draws attention to the fact. And for this fact alone, I really have to applaud Machine Games.
The two worlds of first-person shooters have been merged together beautifully, and many of the distinct features of the original have been retained. BJ can carry all of his weapons at once, which might seem unrealistic compared to more modern shooters, but adds that extra depth to the game as you can change your tactics for different firefights. You can decide whether or not to take them out quietly with a knife or silenced pistol, or decide steadily to mow them down from cover if you want with an assault rifle. Or you can just go the classic way and just go in all guns blazing with dual-wield automatic shotguns. The levels look and play beautifully with a selection of close combat corridors to larger arena-style battles. Each level is different to the last, as BJ is taken from concentration camp to the moon. And despite the overall dreary colour palette, you can forgive them due to the nature of the game. Machine Games have done a sterling job of conveying a crushed world, which is most poignantly seen when players gaze over the London skyline. The view of the buildings littered with swastikas, newly added oppressive structures, and the ever-watching robotic eye of London, the London Monitor, and this really helps support this feeling of desperation. Killing Nazis is still fun and made even easier by the fact that they are now mainly faceless armoured soldiers, mechanically augmented soldiers, and even brain-controlled mechs, who have literally had their morals and compassion removed by the evil villain, General Deathshead. Any worry that you might be shooting the innocent who are simply following orders is wiped out when the soldiers shoot bedridden mental patients right in front of you. Then they bomb innocent people and they slice and dice anyone who stands in their way. Even during a brief meeting on the train where you meet the evil Frau Engel, she quizzes you and they ooze evil, bringing on their demise so much more satisfying. Both the stealth mechanic and the cover mechanics are simple but well implemented. Each level can be tackled differently depending on your playstyle, and the player is rewarded with perks accordingly. The perks may only reward you with extra ammo capacity or increased health, but the very fact that they exist encourages the player to try out different playing styles to unlock the myriad of achievements. The commander mechanic is also a really nice touch, as these high-ranking officials have the ability to call in more troops, meaning players will definitely want to take these out quickly and, if possible, quietly as well. It's weird to think of a character like BJ actually having a love interest, but his story works well and even the sex scene is done quite tastefully. Supporting characters are well acted, and their very broken nature fits so nicely with the fact that BJ himself is a relic. This ragtag team of a crippled soldier, a mentally unstable strategist, a mentally disabled man-boy, and an emotionally broken ex-Nazi, and even a Scottish soldier with a grudge against you for saving his life. I mean, these various people and these various parts all work together to create this sort of wonderful whole. I can't praise Machine Games enough for handling what really is a difficult game and doing it so well. I think this title is going to be misunderstood by many and criticised by others for not really fitting into the modern day first person shooter mould, but I think over time this title will be appreciated by more and more. Despite all of its features, it does have a few niggles which do detract from the experience. The enemy AI is not always great, and some of the later levels are actually easier than some of the earlier ones. My main gripe with the game was the home base levels, which consisted of a number of fetch quests designed to pad out the game so that they could boast a 20-hour gameplay experience. I mean, these levels are okay for introducing the supporting characters and for helping the player connect with them, but I really didn't enjoy delivering notes and collecting drills just to increase the game time. The lack of a multiplayer does reduce the replayability, but the split path narrative and the slew of collectibles that you can get should keep most bargain hunters busy. I came into this game thinking I was going to get a Duke Nukem style shooter, but left feeling like I had played a well thought out and well considered homage to not only Wolfenstein franchise, but also to the original first person shooters of the 90s. This has to be one of my top 3 games of the generation so far, and whilst it has its issues, I did find it refreshing to be back playing a single player focused shooter. I would absolutely, definitely recommend it. If you want more, don't forget to like, comment or subscribe, or click the link for even more reviews.
He may not look like much, but trust me, we're gonna need him. He's a hell of a pilot.
Okay, let's move, people. Let's buy some time.
Okay, Bish, package on the way. Start the music.